Have you ever wondered what transpired in the year 1762 on a decisive day in October? That was the day British forces aimed their ambitions on the thriving city of Manila. This wasn't a mere act of unchecked violence, but an intentional maneuver in the grand battle scene of the 7 Years' War, an all-encompassing conflict that saw Britain and France face off. Anchored in a strategic and boasting a booming trade scene, Manila was a temptation too strong for the British to resist. They envisioned Manila as a potential commerce titan, a hub that could expedite profitable trade, particularly with China. Its potential was striking, and the British were keen to exploit it. At the helm were two individuals of significant influence, William Draper and Samuel Cornish. Together, they led an imposing troop of 6,839 warriors and mariners. With Draper's military expertise and Cornish's naval mastery, they made a powerful pair. They were tasked with seizing a city ill-prepared for warfare, but staunch in resilience. The Spanish, stern rulers of Manila were taken by surprise. Their military leadership was deficient, and the city's defenses were inadequate to resist a meticulously orchestrated British attack. The opposition they staged, though full of vigor, eventually succumbed, and Manila capitulated. The British paraded into the city, their triumph signaling the commencement of an occupation that would span nearly 2 years. Despite the Spanish's gallant resistance, Manila was conquered by the British, initiating an era of occupation that would persist for nearly 2 years. With the city now under British control, a stark change was about to sweep over Manila. The British fleet, led by the unwavering force of William Draper and Samuel Cornish, had captured the city with an impressive army of over 6,000 soldiers and sailors. However, the aftermath of this victory wasn't as glorious as the conquest itself. The city was left in a state of disarray as British soldiers and the local population took to the streets, pillaging Manila for over 30 hours. The once vibrant city was now a shell of its former self, the streets echoing with the chilling sounds of destruction and despair. But the British occupation of Manila wasn't just about physical domination. It was also an economic siege. The British, eager to use the city as a trading hub, especially with China, demanded a hefty ransom from the Spanish colonial government. The Spanish, in a desperate bid to spare the city from further destruction, agreed to pay. Yet the promise of gold did little to alleviate the grim situation. Only a quarter of the demanded ransom was actually paid. This put the newly appointed governor, Dawson Drake, in a precarious situation. Struggling to obtain financial assets, he found himself ruling over a city in economic turmoil. As the city grappled with the harsh realities of occupation, a new challenge arose: resistance. The royal audience of Manila, refusing to bow down to British rule, appointed Simon de Anda y Salazar as lieutenant governor. Anda, with his headquarters moved to Bacolor, Pampanga, started to gather support. The city was under siege, both physically and economically, but the spirit of resistance was far from extinguished. In the face of adversity, the people of Manila and the Spanish colonial government were not about to stand idly by. The British might have had Manila under their grip, but there was a fierce resistance brewing. A resistance that stemmed from an unyielding spirit and an undying love for their land. The Spanish colonial government, along with Filipino troops, formed the backbone of this resistance. Their collective aim was to keep the British from expanding their control beyond Manila and Cavite. Even though they were up against a formidable enemy, their resolve didn't waver. They were determined to protect their land and people from foreign domination. The royal audience of Manila, the Spanish colonial administrative body, played a significant role in organizing this resistance. They knew they needed a strong leader, someone who could rally the troops and lead them in this fight. This is when Simon de Anda y Salazar stepped into the picture. Appointed as the lieutenant governor, Anda was the beacon of hope the resistance needed. Anda knew staying in Manila, the heart of British control, was not strategically wise. He moved his headquarters to Bacolor, Pampanga, a location far enough from the British stronghold yet close enough to keep a watchful eye on the enemy. From here, he led the resistance, strategizing, planning, and preparing for the fight to reclaim their city. Anda's leadership and the resistance's unwavering spirit were instrumental in keeping the British from expanding their control. They may not have had the numbers, but they had something far more potent, a burning desire to protect their homeland. But this was just the beginning. The resistance was growing stronger with each passing day, preparing for the fight that lay ahead. They knew the road to freedom was long and arduous, but they were ready. They were ready to fight, ready to sacrifice, and above all, ready to reclaim their city. While the British held Manila, the resistance was growing stronger, preparing for the fight to reclaim their city. As the first week of April in 1764 dawned, the British occupation was nearing its end. The British had imagined Manila as a thriving trading hub under their rule, especially for commerce with China. However, the reality of sustaining an occupation in a foreign land was far from that rosy vision. Dawson Drake, who had assumed the office as the governor of Manila, found himself in a precarious financial situation. Despite the city's rich potential, the British were struggling to tap into its wealth. The Spanish, who had initially agreed to pay a hefty ransom to spare the city from further destruction, were unable to deliver in full. The British had demanded a substantial amount, but only a quarter of it was ever paid. This financial shortfall added to the mounting challenges the British were facing in Manila. Meanwhile, the Spanish colonial government, alongside Filipino troops, was not idly standing by. Their resistance was gaining momentum, providing a formidable challenge to the British. The royal audience of Manila had organized a robust resistance and appointed Simon de Anda y Salazar as lieutenant governor. Anda moved headquarters to Bacolor, Pampanga, and with the backing of the Augustinians, he was able to rally support. This growing resistance was a stark reminder to the British that their control was limited to Manila and Cavite. The rest of the Philippines remained defiant, a region united in its opposition to the British rule. The British soon realized that their occupation was not sustainable, and their dreams of a prosperous trading hub in Manila were slipping away. As the British grappled with financial difficulties and the mounting resistance, it became increasingly clear that their occupation was nearing its end. The once thriving city of Manila, bruised but not broken, was on the brink of regaining its autonomy. The British occupation of Manila, a chapter of history filled with strife and resistance, was finally coming to a close. So, there you have it, the tale of the British occupation of Manila, a time of conflict, resistance, and resilience. This period, spanning from October 1762 to April 1764, was characterized by strained relations, tactical maneuvers, and the indomitable spirit of the Filipino people. Let's quickly revisit the key points of this historical narrative. The British invaded Manila with a force of nearly 7,000 soldiers and sailors, intending to use the city as a trading hub. Manila was under siege, and the city was pillaged for over 30 hours, with blame shared between the British soldiers and the local population. In response, the Spanish colonial government and Filipino troops mounted a resistance. Despite the challenges, they managed to confine the British control to Manila and Cavite. Simon de Anda y Salazar led the resistance, moving the headquarters to Bacolor, Pampanga, and rallying support from the Augustinians. The occupation ended with the city's liberation, but the aftermath was significant. The city's lack of preparedness and the poor military leadership had left their mark. Yet, it was also a testament to the resilience and courage of the Filipino people. In the grander scheme, this occupation had a profound impact on Manila and the Philippines. It highlighted the importance of preparedness, leadership, and the spirit of resistance. Now, as we're halfway through, here's a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this journey through history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's just a click away, and it will keep you connected with more fascinating stories from the past. Remember, history is filled with fascinating stories just waiting to be discovered. Subscribe for more amazing content and keep your curiosity alive. Until next time, keep wondering. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.